Hey there, world. Welcome to Gail Talk. Another day of conversation. This one, I guess, isn't for everyone, but in the same breath, it's nice to know what's kind of going on and to learn about different things that go on with people and stuff. But um, I've been wanting to talk about this one for a while. Um, and hopefully me discussing it might help other people out there in the world that go through the same thing, because I know that it is something that a lot of people go through. um, so I wanted to just discuss like migraines, especially with the stress of what's going on. And it's kind of hard when, like, when food is costing so much and we're having to figure out how to make our meals from scratch, and not everyone has been like shown by their parents how to do all these things. A lot of it is just like processed foods, or even when you go to the food bank, they're giving you like craft dinner, and they're giving you hamburger helper, and these things, I will admit, yeah, they're delicious. I'm not going to say that they're not. But these foods are not like what are going to be helping us when it comes to things with our body and things we're dealing with, and especially when you don't know down to the finest ingredient, like what's going into your body, like 100%. Like, it seems weird to me, at least, to see things that I don't even know how to pronounce. I'm like, whoa, that's going like in my body. That seems like maybe not the best. And so this video might not only relate to people for with migraines, but might relate to people who are dealing with other things in their body that might be bothering them. So yeah, with migraines, with myself, um, I've I dealt with like worst the worst migraines like I've ever heard of anyone really explaining. Because if it wasn't for my mom and my older sister, I wouldn't have known that it was normal or okay to be getting this. Like, I would have thought I was having a stroke or dying. And I guess I did go to the doctor and they explained, no, it's okay, it's a migraine. So you just have to take like extra strength ibuprofen or Advil or Tylenol at this when it happens, and sometimes it'll make the pain more mild. So the one lucky, I try to look at the bright side of life when it comes to things, which can be really weird if you're like feeling something that is like a migraine. And but the bright side is I always got like a heads up that they were coming. It wasn't the best heads up. Like, I wouldn't want anyone to experience this in their life, but I would deal with this thing that's like an aura in my eyes. And it would happen when I was at work, it would happen when I was at home, it would happen when I was at school. So I like ended up missing out on a lot of things, or having to go home because I'm not like feeling very well, or I'd, at least, like I said, I'd see that first. So I'm like, okay, this is my heads up for what's actually coming. So what it was that I would see this aura, which meant that like it was like a white and black blot in my eye that I would see, which would make it so I couldn't see out of half of maybe like both of my eyes. It's hard to like tell if it was just like half of one of my eyes, because when I closed like one of the other one, I would still see this darkness. And so it would make it so I felt like I was going like blind, but it would only happen to half of my eyes and sometimes give me like a tunnel vision. So I'd noticed that. And then after that, the second thing I'd noticed was my hands would, the tips of my fingers would get like pins and needles or go numb. And it would travel up my arm where I'd feel like my hand was jelly. And it would travel up my arm and sometimes get so bad that it would like, I could feel it on my lips or the side of my face or maybe like on my eye. And then I think that's all of the symptoms I got. It's sometimes I feel it on my tongue, but like, so those were the symptoms, and I'd be like, okay, this sucks. It means I'm gonna get a migraine. So like when those symptoms like would show up, I'd be like, okay, I gotta set up for kind of having to go into a dark place for a little bit, like with no light. I gotta figure out where I'm gonna sit for a bit. I gotta pull over sometimes because I'm driving and I can't see. So I'm like, I gotta figure out like what I'm doing for a bit, like a couple of hours sometimes. So what I would do after that, like I said, I'd go lie down, which was nice. If I was at home, I'd go lie down. But yeah, this pain would, if I didn't take the ibuprofen, like they'd tell me to take extra at the pharmacist. So I'd take like two of the extra strength. And if I didn't take it, the pain, it's like it was so much. It was to the point where it was dry. I already have dealt with anxiety and depression through my life, but this definitely added on top of what I was already feeling. Like in the world, you're already feeling like things are so hard, and I'm trying to keep up with everything. I'm trying to manage my life. I'm trying to get further in my life and stronger. But as I exert my energy and I'm trying to figure this out, I'm now getting these, like I'm having these migraines that are popping up all the time. And I get them like at least once or maybe even twice a month. So once I moved out and I really wanted to start my life, it really made it hard. Um, but as I head through my 20s, like I tried to figure out, okay, what can I possibly do that might change it so this can go away? Because I don't want to be dealing with this my whole life, especially if I'm wanting to have children. I'm like, what am I going to do if I can't see and I have to pull over with a child, or I can't see and I can't make lunch, or I'm like, you can't not be there. You have to be able to do these things. And I did grow up a lot on freezer foods, and like I'm English, so I always got my Sunday dinner. So I was definitely appreciative of that. But I didn't want to be like that. I tried to start making things from scratch a lot of the time. And so you have to kind of set up a process. So if this happens, you don't feel like you can't do anything. So I was like, I'm going to have to go and figure this out. And the doctors weren't really telling me anything. They were like, just take the medication, like take the migraine medication, or take this. I think they sent me in for a brain scan at one point, but obviously like nothing popped up to show anything. Everything's fine. It was kind of funny because like I mentioned, my mom got these migraines, so that's what set me up to feel calm, that this is like a normal thing. And my older sister got these migraines, but my sister that's younger than me didn't. So I thought that was like really weird. The one thing that stood out though, I was like, okay, she doesn't really drink. Like I was a big drinker, and my older sister drinks and my mom drinks. So I was like, huh, maybe that has something to do with it. So I tried to cut that out a bit, but I was still getting the migraines. And then as I started to get older, I was like, even into my later 20s, I had my first child. So I was like, I really got to get a handle on this. It hasn't been until like the past few years that I've actually lessened them. That's why it's hard for me to explain what I went through, because I was like, I haven't really had them in a bit. I almost feel like knocking on wood just to make sure that just like, it makes it scared that you don't even want to talk about it in case you've brung it back or something. But yeah, I just had one like a month ago, and I think it was just from stress from having a newborn. And so they do come on definitely when there's like a high level of stress, or if I'm not eating enough, or like I'm just unable to keep up with things. I think the lack of energy definitely brings them on. But what I noticed is a big thing that has actually stopped them is I stopped eating coloring, which I was like, this is kind of weird, because I started finding out when I did research on food coloring, like the Brilliant Blue FCF, Sunset Yellow FCF, and the Allura Red, those three main ones. I started noticing that they're like petroleum based products. So I was like, they're like not made from something that's good for us. And I don't think it should be in our body. It's kind of funny when you think about where all of this stuff comes from, especially plastics. And there's so many things made from oil in the earth that I'm like, maybe this shouldn't be on our skin, shouldn't be in our bodies. This doesn't seem like it's really doing us any good. So I stopped taking food coloring, and it seemed to really, really help. Like I said, I still get them on occasion, these migraines, but it's really cut down to barely being existent. Like I can actually I feel like I'm living my life a bit more. If it does happen, it's like not a panic, because it's only once in a while. So I'm like, okay, this is not not so bad. I can deal with this. It's a lot better than having to set up once or twice a month for something like this to happen. So yeah, I stopped taking food coloring or eating food coloring. And like when you go to the store, you'll notice like almost everything has this food coloring in it. Like even things that don't even need it. I'm like, I want these cupcakes and I don't even care if they're green or blue or red. They could still make them without putting the sprinkles on them or something. Like I enjoy the taste of food. I don't always need to be like, ooh, these look nice, I want them. And candy, I've had to cut out a lot of candy in my life. So I try to make things, or I tried to make like waffles and put honey all over them or maple syrup. So that's like, I'm trying to find alternatives because I definitely was like growing up in England, I ate a lot of candy and chocolate. Like, so I'm surprised like that I'm not doing worse in my life when I really think about all of the candy and chocolate I've eaten in my life. So yeah, I don't know if this is going to help all of you or any of you out there, but I've at least wanted to talk about it for a while to see if there's any comments and to see if anyone wants to discuss what they're experiencing, because I think this is something that in our world we're depending a lot on what is made for us, not what we have made, or even importing from different countries. So we can't even grow it ourselves. So if something happens with that import, then we don't get something like bananas anymore because we can't grow them here. So it's kind of funny because as a society, we are now dependent on these things. So I would like to make it so, at least my life, everything that I am using, everything that I am used to, everything that I am eating is something that I can maybe make from scratch or work as from the community and get like. So I think it would help a lot of the maybe even mental health problems that are going on, the things that are happening with people's bodies, because obviously it doesn't make you feel too good if you're dealing with things that make you feel sluggish all the time. Like one of my first jobs was at Wendy's. And so I ate a lot of Wendy's. And even just having a job in general where you're having to go out, like I've had to work at two different places at once. I think it was at the Superstore and at Eastside Mario's. And I'd have to finish one job and go to the next. So I never had the chance to be like, okay, I gotta like make my food and get it prepared for a whole day. I was not good at setting that up for myself. I didn't always have the best space or environment to like have my own kitchen either and do that. So I would just like be like, I'm just gonna go buy out. I'll buy something on the way. So like you're dealing with a lot of preservatives and whatever anyone's putting in their food. So I would get a lot of migraines when I was working. That was a part of my life I even had to take myself to detox because I was working so much. I didn't get any time to myself that I was like, I'm drinking like every weekend. I kind of like smoke weed. So I was like, I'm doing that too much. I gotta like chill out. And I took myself, especially with the migraines, I'm like, maybe even in the drinks that I'm having, if I'm buying myself a bottle of alcohol that's like the Cosmopolitan mix, it's red. So it has that food coloring in there. I don't even know if that's what's setting it off. Sometimes I think maybe dehydration sets off the migraines. But like I said, I would love to hear from all of you guys. I didn't want to make this too long or anything, but this is something I've really wanted to discuss in life, and I've wanted to see what other people have to say. And I've read some of the like Reddit comments on this stuff and trying to deal with what everyone else, it was like trying to track down what it could be that's causing this, because there's obviously something causing it if not everyone's experiencing it, and if I don't get it sometimes for a big period of time, what am I doing differently? So I was like, I gotta figure this out. And sometimes I would be stressed and sometimes I wouldn't be stressed, so it's just trying to figure that out. But if this has helped anyone, awesome. That's what I want with this show. With Gail Talk, I would really like it. So I am helping people. That would make all of this awesome. And if it's just to create a bit of conversation where we're all learning together, that's awesome too. Like that makes me happy either way. So I hope you all are having like a great day. it's a great world to be a part of. And I think that forming a community about all these topics that I'm going to come up with in the future, I think is going to be great. So yeah, just put some discussion in the comments below, and we'll start actually like having a community where we can all figure things out and work together. And if you are enjoying my videos, like them, subscribe, follow, whatever you'd like to do. I am just happy to be a part of this. And if I can make it more of a thing that I get out here more often, I really enjoy that too. But yeah, I'm going to get back to my day, and I hope that your day is going great. Until the next show.